Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. Amidst the manhunt for Amritpal Singh, some breaking news now coming in. CNN News18 has now accessed exclusive visuals of Amritpal Singh, where he can be seen ditching his vehicle and getting on a bike after changing his clothes. The visuals, in fact, show the Khalistani preacher's elaborate bid to escape the police and the supporters who are helping him. Anshul, who got access to those visuals, is joining me live from Jalandhar. Anshul, what is the date of these visuals and where exactly is this?
So yes, this happened right after the chase that was being done by the Punjab police to nab Amritpal Singh. In fact, on the 18th of March itself, when Amritpal Singh was able to skip from the grasp of the Punjab police, he went somewhere very close to Mehdpur. Mehdpur, remember, is the place where Amritpal Singh was actually supposed to do a sabha, and Mehdpur was the very place where the police had made elaborate plans that as soon as Amritpal Singh would come here, they are going to arrest him. But somehow or the other, Amritpal Singh got a tip-off that police is waiting for him there, and hence he tried to escape from there. And the entire chase sequence that we saw happening on that very day, on the 18th of March, happened very close to Mehdpur. On the other hand, Amritpal Singh actually changed 3 to 4 vehicles. Initially, he was traveling in a Mercedes. From that, he changed his vehicle to an Isuzu, and then he changed his vehicle to a Brezza. He changed all these 3 changes happened within the very small by-lanes of Mehdpur itself. And once he got into a Brezza, he goes to another village which is very close to Mehdpur, known as Shahkot. And in Shahkot, along with his friends and along with his supporters, he ditches that Brezza vehicle and gets onto a bike. And while he was changing his bike, he goes ahead and changes his turban. Initially, the turban that he was wearing was a blue chola. He ditches that in the Brezza itself, and then he goes ahead and puts on that pink turban, changes his entire attire, puts on a jacket, and he puts on goggles as well. Also with a bag, he was trying to hide his face at that very point. So yes, this entire sequence that we have access actually clearly shows that how scared was Amritpal. After the Ajnala incident, remember the interviews that he gave to CNN News18 as well, he very clearly stated that if any sort of attack or if any sort of arrest or FIR happens against any of his aides or any of his persons, the same kind of action is going to happen against the administration and against the Punjab police. But the manner in which he fled from the spot, just trying to save his life, leaving all his associates behind, actually tell the real face of this coward known as Amritpal Singh. So yes, the Punjab police is now tracing through this CCTV footage what was the last known location of Amritpal Singh. But yes, as of now, the entire map is being routed, but still there is no clue as to where currently is Amritpal Singh stationed.
Yes, I want to understand from you. So there is a man who actually gets him on a bike and then he helps him, escape. Who are these people? Are they supporters and followers of this supposed preacher?
So yes, these are associates of Amritpal Singh. In fact, the entire belt in which Amritpal Singh was operating in Punjab, he was not operating across the state of Punjab. In fact, he was operating very close to the borders of Pakistan, places like Amritsar, Taran, and few places in Jalandhar and Monga as well. So this is the entire belt in which Amritpal Singh had actually managed to garner some sort of support. And that is the reason why he used to travel in that entire area itself. He does not used to go beyond that to other parts of Punjab, and these were his followers. In fact, the police, we broke this story this morning, that how he actually escaped, how he actually changed his vehicle to a Brezza. That Brezza has been recovered by the Punjab police. In fact, his chola that he was wearing, the blue chola that he was wearing, that has also been found by the Punjab police. Along with that, several weapons have also been recovered and a walkie-talkie as well. So he was actually prepared with his aides that he is going to escape. Now you see that there are 2 bikes and there are 2 people who are riding those bikes. The people who were riding those bikes, they have been taken into custody by the Punjab police, whereas Amritpal Singh and his other associate who was with him in that very vehicle, initially in that Mercedes, both these people have not been arrested as of now, and the Punjab police is now suspecting that he might have crossed the borders of Punjab. Either he went towards Pakistan or he went towards the Nepal border, which is actually a very porous border, and it is very easy to cross from India to Nepal. So the police is at this point in time suspecting that he might have travelled towards Nepal and would have tried to escape from there, and that is the reason why the Punjab police at this point in time is taking help of all the polices that come in this entire area, be it the UP police, Haryana police, JK police or the Delhi police itself. So all these police forces are now working in tandem along with central agencies and intelligence agencies as well to get the last location and to nab Amritpal Singh at the earliest.
I want to understand from you, Anshul, before I let you go, because there are several men who are seen in this CCTV footage, and this is the last set of visuals that police has on the last location of Amritpal Singh. Have they managed to get some details from these men as to where did they drop him? You know, as you said that the border with Nepal particularly is very porous. The sense that Punjab police has that he perhaps has left the, perhaps has escaped from Punjab itself. So, what is it that they have picked up from those who were trying to let him escape?
So yes, the uncle of Amritpal Singh, who has been arrested by the Punjab police, actually he has gone out and said that the manner in which Amritpal actually went ahead while they were escaping, they went ahead and made one person a sarpanch of a village at gunpoint. They stayed at his home for almost 24 hours, and from there they have managed to escape. And an FIR also has been registered in this entire and an FIR has been also registered in this entire matter. So yes, the Punjab police they have already arrested at least 9 of the associates of Amritpal Singh, and from them they are tracking down his last location. So yes, it remains to be seen as to how quickly can the Punjab police go and nab Amritpal Singh, because remember, in the next 4 days they have to submit a reply to the Punjab and Haryana High Court, where they have to state that what were the failures in that entire operation due to which Amritpal Singh was actually managed to escape from their grasp, even after they had such a huge force and such intelligence services at their disposal.
Anshul, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, India has seen the consequences of unchecked radicalism. The nation still bears the scars of the Khalistan insurgency. While the Indian security establishment is working overtime to stamp out Khalistani radicals and bring them to justice, their nexus in the West is spreading unchecked. On Monday, we showed you the attacks on Indian missions in London and San Francisco, where vandals tried to desecrate the Indian tricolour. The US State Department has condemned the crime and promised full cooperation. While one person has been arrested in London over the attack on the Indian High Commission. However, the rampage of these radicals has also been seen in Canada. The visit of the Indian High Commissioner and consulate staff to Surrey in British Columbia was cancelled by the police after protests by Khalistani supporters. The protesters even threatened an Indian journalist who has accused the police of being mute spectator. This rampage is also being seen in Australia. You can see those visuals coming from various parts of the world. That has seen multiple attacks on Hindu temples by Khalistani radicals. Supporters of Amritpal Singh gathered at the Australian Parliament in Canberra to protest against the Punjab police's crackdown, while Khalistani supporters armed with swords and sticks attacked Indian expats in Melbourne for waving the tricolour as they made a failed push for a Khalistani referendum. These pockets of radicalism are spread across the Western world and pose a real security threat. While India has raised the global alarm, time and again we see Western governments going soft on these radicals. India is a crucial ally of the West, with the Indian diaspora spread across multiple countries, but there is no crackdown on these radical cells, which seem to have found a safe haven in these nations. This begs the question, why does the West tolerate Khalistani radicals? Doesn't it hurt bilateral relations and strategic ties with India?
Along in the next election, ask the culprits and the perpetrators of what happened at London is to be quickly arrested and prosecuted. We launched a strong protest.
be taking those questions to the panelists who will be joining me shortly. But before, let me go straight to London, where Sanjay Suri is joining us live. Sanjay, Indian community leaders are concerned. Security has been beefed up. One arrest happened. But the question is this enough?
It clearly is not. And it never has been. And that is the principal reason why a lot of groups are in fact encouraged to attack the Indian High Commission in this instance, or other Indian facilities, because they seem to know that they can get away with it. Look at the latest incident. This was on Sunday. It's now more than 48 hours since that attack. We've had one arrest, and this is the person who is Avtar Singh Khanda, who has been a known Khalistani. He got these people together. But there were 15 to 20 of them, and they were present when the police arrived. The police have had a good hard look at them. The police saw the vandalism before them, they saw the vandals before them, and they simply let them walk away. Khanda was arrested only later. We are still waiting for the arrest of the others. As the law goes, the others are equally criminally liable for a prosecution. But we've had no further arrest. And always there seems to be this pattern repeating itself. That creates a difficulty diplomatically. It's a problem in crime itself, but it's also really, in fact, an encouragement to groups that they can really go ahead and do what they want, and that there will be no questions asked, and that they will not face any prosecution. They seem to have this confidence.
They certainly seem to have that confidence. And what is giving them that confidence? Sanjay Suri, really appreciate your time. Adit Kothari, founder, Indic Society, joining me from London. Dr. Tara Kartha is former Director, National Security Council Secretariat. Lieutenant General retired KJ Singh is joining us live as well. And Pinak Ranjan Chakravarti is former Secretary, MEA. Adit Kothari, what is giving them this confidence? And what domestic advantage is an Indian origin UK Prime Minister in Rishi Sunak getting by going soft on Khalistan supporters?
Thanks for having me on the show. The West, especially the countries like UK, Canada, Australia, have essentially become a complete breeding ground for anti-India ecosystem. And, this was essentially mentioned by Dr. Jaishankar a couple of weeks ago when he said that, politics of India is essentially being played out by other means. And this is essentially emanating from the West, which is why we're seeing the Khalistanis in nexus with the Islamists, the Stop Caste Discrimination cabal, the dismantling global Hindutva gang, and all of these are sort of working in conjunction. And I will give you instances like, going back into 2019 when there was an attack on the Indian High Commission in London against the abrogation of Article 370. And surprisingly, you would have noticed that the Islamists who were attacking the Indian High Commission were essentially supported by the Khalistani, or rather a small pocket of the Khalistani cabal. So coming back to your question as to why the West is essentially, supporting these elements in the garb or the mask, under the mask of humanitarianism, I personally feel it's the lack of the Indian diplomacy to make the cost higher. We haven't, diplomatically, India has not made the cost higher for these countries to essentially, give.
What can be that diplomatic cost, Ambassador Chakravarti? What can be that diplomatic cost? How do you make it higher, as he's pointing out? Because the fact is that these Khalistan referendums have been allowed in the West. Somehow these Western countries see this as a just cause.
Well, they have justified it on, freedom of speech and etc., and all the democratic freedoms that they claim that people there enjoy. And these countries are also all allies, by the way. They are English-speaking countries and part of the Five Eyes Alliance group, intelligence sharing group. So I'm only stating this as a fact, and I'm not imputing any motives here. But the point is that you ask the question as to why they get away with it. They get away with it because this is not the first time. It's been happening for a very long time. I was posted in London just after the Blue Star happened in 1984. And I have dealt with these kind of people, demonstrations, etc. What surprised me was that these demonstrators were allowed to come near the door of the High Commission. Earlier, I remember very clearly, that they were kept on the other side of the road, on the other pavement, and they were allowed. And don't forget, in London, you just cannot demonstrate without permission, without indicating the venue you are going to be. And so the police knew exactly that this is going to happen. But there was no security provided. There was no police presence at all. Only after all this happened that some policemen turned up. So I think this is a part of a game plan that is being played out in the West, where, despite the fact that we have good relations with all these countries, but every country in its relationship, even with its friends, seek leverage. So this is a leverage which the West has, apart from various other reasons of, these people are in.
But Pinaki Chakravarti, the situation certainly and India's positioning vis-a-vis the world has changed from what it was to now. In India right now, in Prime Minister Narendra Modi, there is a lot of, the West looking towards India on a number of fronts. Do you think they can continue to be sympathetic, or this arrest that has happened, because India had asked the UK to quickly arrest and prosecute pro-Khalistan protesters who were involved in this attack? One arrest happened, they will also ensure prosecution. And this is the beginning of a changed view that UK would have towards Khalistani movement.
Well, let's hope so. I mean, this is the first time I am hearing they have arrested anybody for these kind of demonstrations.
Okay, you're saying that this is for the first time it has happened. Dr. Kartha?
I haven't heard of this before.
Okay.
So I think they are taking some action, some seriousness, but I still blame them for the callousness with which they allowed it to happen. That it could have been controlled, there could have been policemen or some security provided, and these people should not have been allowed to come near the door of the High Commission. They will, of course, come up with the myriad excuses as to how difficult it is, it was a Sunday, and all kinds of things will be said. But as I said, there is an element of leverage. There is an element of Indian politics being played out there, domestic politics being played out among the diaspora. And the Khalistan issue has been there for quite some time. And it props up, raises its head from time to time. So this is one of those occasions where, again, this person who was going around openly in Punjab saying all these things, question is, why didn't we do anything at that time? And so I think it should have been nipped in the bud. But it wasn't, because of domestic politics in India and in Punjab, because of other factors.
So then, Dr. Tara Kartha, why do you think a Rishi Sunak government will not act, although you have a UK member of parliament who has said that most Indians or most majority of the Sikhs, in fact, living in the UK, absolutely reject the Khalistani project? We haven't really heard from Rishi Sunak.
I don't think the Prime Minister being Indian is probably what shall I say? It's a handicap in this case, because he's expected to act in such a way by India, and he's expected to do a different thing back in the UK. So remember, there are people who are opposing him also, which makes it extremely awkward for him. But apart from that, they have in recent times, we have had some institutional cooperation with UK in terms of dealing with some of these Khalistanis, which there has been some quiet cooperation. NSA has gone there, he's talked to them. This particular incident, I would refer you to a report in The Guardian, it's a British report, which talks of that the Metropolitan Police is broken, rotten, suffering, collapsing public trust and guilty of institutional racism. So this is a terrible report on the Metropolitan Police in London. So there is probably a degree of institutional decay that we're seeing here. But on the other hand, what worries me is the synchronization which you're seeing, with across the world, where there are people who are coming together and doing this, the landing of Amritpal from Dubai, the whole thing to me seems like a very well staged play. In which case, I'm still saying if that is so, then it has been in preparation for at least a year. You can't do this sort of thing suddenly. That is my worry as to what is going on.
Okay. Yes, Adit, quickly, and then I bring in Lieutenant General KJ Singh.
I mean, the one thing that I wanted to bring to for your viewers, in London or in the United Kingdom, you just cannot pick up a group of people and go out and protest. To conduct a protest, there has to be, a method. You have to take police permissions. You have to get the permission you have to notify the venue where you are essentially going to be protesting, to ensure that, public services are not disrupted. And none of this process was essentially followed for this particular protest and for the protest in 2019. So this is very important, which clearly marks that the security lapses of the British agencies needs to be called out. Article 31 of the Vienna Convention clearly mentions that the host nation must provide and protect any intrusion and damage to the property, which is the extension of that particular country, which the British agencies have completely failed to do so. So I think that really, really needs to be called out.
Okay, the question is also, General KJ Singh, how are such radicals able to raise funds in Western nations when it is a fact that such funds are used for anti-India operations?
See, Myra, firstly, Jai Hind to all your viewers. This is a small group of people because it doesn't have wide appeal in the societies, either in Britain or in Australia or even in New Zealand, Canada and all these countries. A small group of people which, because of the electoral compulsions, vote bank politics, is being allowed to punch much above its weight. Getting funds, there are multiple sources. They are getting funds from ISI. There are groups which are traditionally part of anti-India lobby. There are collections done in Gurdwaras which are misused for this. And here there is an element who's on asylum visa. Now he had no business. He should be just taken to task very severely. His visa should be revoked if required and handed over to Indian authorities. And entire thing is based on a principle of reciprocity. You have this, that the embassies, chancelleries, consulates are well protected. So in sum, what I like to say is that it's a very grave, serious failure on part of British intelligence, and even in Australia, their intelligence agencies, their policing people, and the fact that people were allowed to do this. Only saving grace is one of the Indian consulate staffer rose to the occasion, retrieved the flag, and then we immediately put out a bigger flag. So our spirit is not dented. But such things have to be taken up at appropriate level.
Yes.
I'm sure government is doing it.
General KJ Singh, the point being made by Dr. Tara Kartha here was that there seems to be a larger conspiracy or design here. That someone who was in Dubai makes a presence in Punjab, becomes overnight a preacher. And when we look at those visuals, and I'll ask the producer to put that on our television screens, he is seen escaping by changing his turban, and his associates help him. The sense that we are getting from Punjab police is that he could have very well escaped from Punjab, because the border with Nepal in particular is very porous. He could have crossed over to Nepal or maybe moved to even Pakistan. The question is, from where does this man really come all of a sudden? And he captures the imagination of the entire society there, and then becomes the face of the Khalistan movement.
See, Myra, one thing is there. He doesn't have widespread support in Punjab. Nobody has risen in his favor, or there are no mass protests. And he is somebody who just come. He was being allowed to gain traction. And thank God he's been taken care of. And today, High Court of Punjab and Haryana has passed very severe strictures. I didn't want to go into operations aspect when the operation is going on. But let me tell you, what kind of cordon is this? That 4 vehicles break the cordon. Why should it have been done by day? He could have been nabbed by night. Night, it's easier to nab. And
a thing like, see, the basic problem is also that people in Punjab police are today very defensive because of the Baragari incident, Nakodar, sacrilege cases. So large number of SITs are in operation and police people are under scanner, they are being brought to law. So I think this operation was planned with a clear direction. There'll be no use of firearms, there'll be no strong arm tactics applied, and he'll be nabbed. But that is where they failed, and somehow I hope he's arrested, because that'll be a big failure, because whatever has happened is okay, but we need to get hold of this guy, and but he's lost further credibility. You know, in Punjab, in Sikh society, people don't run away. The teaching is that when you are in such a situation, you fight back, you stand your ground. So he should, by doing this, he has lost further credibility.
Okay.
So Myra, all in all, it is a serious situation, but not a grave emergency at this stage.
Okay. Dr. Tara Kartha, you know, the point that we were trying to make to understand what can India do diplomatically. India's global stock is rising. Can the government make the Khalistani threat a global agenda, given their spread in the West? Reports are coming in from Australia, Canada, other countries as well.
I think you're going to have to walk a very fine line, because it's not a good idea to sort of overdo this whole thing, because like the general said, it's a very, very small minority in each of these countries who are doing this. So you don't want to sort of overplay this whole thing. At the same time, you don't want it to get out of hand. So it's a very fine, it's a very difficult line. But I just want to add one more thing, if I may, that, you know, the general was saying, I hope we arrest him soon. The problem is, once you arrest him, what are you going to do with him? Once he's arrested, there will be another bunch of people who are saying free Amrit. It's already trending on Twitter. You know, there's, I think, 22K tweets around saying free him. Free him from where? We don't know where he is. So arresting him could be done, but what do you do later? You have more trouble. See, this seems to have been thought through. So if he's arrested, I don't see this problem going away.
Okay.
That is the thing.
Okay, General KJ Singh, when you say arrest, what after that is the question?
Yes.
See, NSA has been applied. 7 people. See, Dr. Tara Kartha has made some very valid points, and I do share the concern that what to do after arrest. We have applied NSA, the government has applied NSA. 7 people have been shipped to Dibrugarh. So there are clear violations of Arms Act, of receiving funds from abroad, having ammunition far in excess, weapons licensed in J&K. There are many, many charges, and if we carry the prosecution through and we build a tight case, then he can be brought to law. And the thing is, it has to be a multi-agency approach. Like Dr. Tara Kartha and others are saying, socio-economic correctives also have to be applied. Sikh youth have to be given more engagement, jobs, communication strategy has to be improved. We have to rally the opinion makers and bring out the fact that this man is just pretending to be Waris Punjab, self-appointed one. He does not have a mass following. He himself is not lived by the code, and he's abandoned it by running away. So all these factors have to be brought up. And I'm sure Punjabis are not interested in going back to that situation which existed in 80s, and we had such problems.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time, Adit Kothari, Dr. Tara Kartha, Lieutenant General KJ Singh.